This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. But you too shy? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you know what, I'm thinking it might be a good way to lose weight. I know. Yeah.
Fireworks?
Yeah.
I'm sorry? Well, we're going to celebrate, Amy Epley's been working as the park director for 5 years.
Oh. Yeah, keep right over there.
And her family. And then we've made it through October. The trees are beautiful.
We made it through. Okay.
Call this November 1 meeting to order. Our Mansion, our city chaplain, is going to give us a great prayer tonight.
Would you join me as we pray? Dear Lord and Father of all, we come to you this evening to ask your guidance as the mayor, administrator, staff, and city council of Sedalia meet to discuss and make decisions on behalf of our community and its citizens. We thank them for their dedication and service to our city. We also ask your protection for all of our first responders, police, fire, sheriff, ambulance, EMTs, hospital staffs, and all who work tirelessly to serve us, often at the peril of their own lives. We are thankful for the United States of America, our constitutional republic, for which so many have fought and died, Lord, to create, to preserve for nearly 250 years. Please protect all of our personnel, military and civilian, in whatever capacity they serve here and throughout the world. And tonight we are especially happy to say that our Director of Parks, Amy Epley, is celebrating her 5th anniversary with the City of Sedalia, and we're really happy for her and for the work she has done. And now as we leave this evening, please protect us and our loved ones. Keep us from harm until we meet again. All this we pray in the name of your Son, our risen Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Carly, roll call, please.
Lehman,
Here.
Oldham,
Here.
Dawson,
Here.
Bogus. Here. Richardson,
Here.
Cross,
Here.
Foster, absent, and Bliss.
Here. Now we're going to give a special service award to Amy Epley. Seems like she's been working with the city for more than 5 years. So you can recount that. Let's come up here at the podium. I was trying to get Sue to come up and say some kind words, but she couldn't take it. You couldn't give any kind words yet. It's been, Amy, you can't believe how much of a pleasure it's been working with you this year and last year and the year before that. I mean, we've had a terrific vision. Things have just materialized like you cannot believe. Take great help. And, every day I say my blessings and I wish that everything we do in the city would be like this, but reality is not. Thank you for your service and appreciate it.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
your family for being here.
Yeah, I'm missing the girls, but
Yeah.
thank you. I came here in 2008 as a rec supervisor because recreation department started. Was here for about 6 years, and then my husband was deployed overseas. I was back for one first go overseas in the recreation division, and then about 2 years later, I came back to the Mark position ready to retire, and I just kept me since then. I love what I do, so I'm very fortunate that I get the opportunity to do that, and I have a rock star staff. Good family that supports me as well. Thank you guys. And we're gonna go watch the Chiefs. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Just had to rub that in, right?
Amy, the parks were great. Keep up the good work, girl.
I'm excited about Christmas this year.
Oh, it's start next week, Monday.
So you can start decorating next week?
Now we just came on light bulb.
So when is it gonna be officially open?
The following week, so the 16th.
Are you expanding significantly to?
Yeah, we've added 12 more displays, we will have 2, 36 more displays.
And hopefully we'll have the downtown looking jazzy also. It's gonna be great. Thanks again, appreciate it.
Take care. You're not going home and watch the football game, are you?
That's where they're going. So council, we need approval for the minutes of our last meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, public safety, Dean Bogus.
We have 2 items for tonight. We're going to have a presentation by the Joint Communication Director. She's going to give her budget for tonight.
Hey, Daniel, before you begin, will you just kind of go over what your duties are and day-to-day responsibilities and how it works?
Well, since the last time I was able to be here, we have successfully merged the Sedalia Communications Unit and the Pettis County Sheriff's Office Communications Unit. We have moved from the small space in the former Sedalia Communications area into the larger space. We're now encompassing the large communication area. We are staffing 3 to 4 operators 24 hours a day. And that's going to be our minimum staffing at 3 operators at a time. I'm tasked with the administrative section of my agency and the overall supervision of them. I have 2 supervisors that split the duties of the day-to-day operations. As an agency, we are processing more than 10,000 phone calls a month. When you consider that that's just the requests coming in from the public, we are also responsible for the communication with responders and the responder agencies of all of the fire departments within the county, both law enforcement agencies between the Sedalia Police Department and the Pettis County Sheriff's Office, and all of the officer-initiated activities that go along with that, the traffic stops, subject checks, anything that they choose to do on their own. We are handling all of the communication that goes along with that, and we're facilitating the computer inquiries for the CJIS system to facilitate those investigative components.
So the Joint Commission is made up of?
The Joint Communications Center is
Like police,
joint effort between county and
but the
city.
individuals on that commission, on your board?
Yes, I do have a 911 board that is composed of the Chief of Police, the Chief of Sedalia Fire, and the Chief of Pettis County Ambulance District, as well as the Sheriff. Those positions are by appointment and in conjunction with their normal employment duties. We also have a 5th member at large that is appointed by the county commission to represent their interests in the venture.
And that is James Tyson, I said?
Yes, it is.
You know, I think it'd be interesting if you ever have an opportunity to have an open house for the public. I know it's got to be kind of restricted.
Unfortunately, because of the type of information that we have readily available, the majority of our physical space is restricted. We would have to do computer checks on every single person coming in. We could potentially have small groups come through, but those names would have to be submitted beforehand, and we would have to run the necessary inquiries to permit them access.
So you can now proceed. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before I begin?
Any questions, Council, before she begins her presentation?
All right. If anyone has a difficult time hearing me, please feel free to interrupt. I know that I can be soft-spoken. So the 2022 budget presentation by contract, the first thing that I would like to explain is the explanation of the revenue sources. In the presentation, the orange bars, or the bar on the right-hand side, will be the required revenue to meet the budget expenses for 2021. To date, The bar beside that would be the revenue that we have collected so far in 2021. So far, the prepaid tax has performed at 200%. It was originally budgeted for $40,000 annually, and so far it has produced just over $80,000. The prepaid tax is a 3.6% tax applied to any prepaid services at the point of purchase. The agreement with the Department of Revenue, who collects those funds, is that 50% of the funds generated or collected will be distributed back into the communication centers. So we are actually receiving 50% of that 3.6%, which is producing 200%
So,
at this
for
point.
example, prepaid is,
Anyone who does not subscribe to a postpaid cellular service, they can opt for a prepaid service where they will purchase the minutes for their phone before they use them. The prepaid cards that you see in Walmart or a lot of gas stations that will have a base dollar amount on those service providers will rate that dollar amount for a specific number of minutes, and they can purchase those cards to use within their service. The tax is applied at the point of purchase and not at the point of usage. So that is an upfront tax that they are providing to us before those minutes are even consumed by the consumer. The next item is the Any Device Fee. The Any Device Fee is a $1 tax that is taxed to any device that can access the cellular systems, any device that can access 911, whether that be a smartwatch or a cell phone. For example, I have a postpaid plan with 3 cell phones, 1 smartwatch on it. Because of the type of device that I use on my smartwatch, I pay $4 per month for my individual personal plan. My 2 daughters, myself, my smartwatch. So that's how those funds are generated, and that is 100% from a postpaid plan. This is based upon the population of Pettis County and the address associated with the account holder at the time that they subscribe or as they update that information. Additional funds that go into the support of Pettis County Joint Communications would be the contributions from the Pettis County Ambulance District. By contract, on a yearly basis, at this point, they are contributing $150,000. However, for the year of 2021, they are only providing $125,000 due to the delay in merger that we experienced at the beginning of 2021. The same would apply for the city of Sedalia. By contract, it's $300,000. However, for the year, it's going to be $250,000. The decrease in the revenue, again, is due to the delay in merger, and the County of Pettis is supplying $200,000 annually to the joint communications venture. Any questions about the revenue sources or the monies collected to date?
is that what you anticipated for revenue? Is that your budgeted anticipated revenue amount?
We budgeted $40,000 for the prepaid. We're very surprised as to how well that is producing. Right now, the Any device is on trend to produce $437,000 for the year. There's still a little bit of a question mark to that, just because it is a new tax, and the funds as they generate and they flow into the agency, they're inconsistent. Honestly, one month I can receive $30,000, and the next month I'll receive $60,000. It's a little difficult to trend that, but it is stabilizing between $30,000 and $40,000 on a monthly basis. So I do want to say that while it's on trend to produce $437,000 for the year, the $400,000, honestly, was a very rough calculation based upon the population of Pettis County and the number of devices that someone may have. So for that being an unknown, the fact that it's producing so close is amazing. Yes, sir.
Did you say the revenues to date for which month?
The revenue to date for the prepaid and the Any device are going to be through September 30th of 2021.
Well, through September.
Yes, through September 30th.
That was my question.
Do you
Yeah.
expect the trend with prepaid minutes to continue?
Conservatively, yes. I think this is an anomaly at the moment. I do not believe that it will continue to produce at this rate continuously. Realistically, 50, I would think, is going to be the max point for that. And you'll see fluctuations in the revenues as people switch between prepaid and postpaid accounts. There's always going to be a population that has to have the newest, greatest phone. To have the newest, greatest phone on a prepaid plan, you have to pay for that phone up front. Whereas with a postpaid plan, you can take advantage of any manufacturing rebates or promotions that the provider may produce. I know that I see promotions all the time where you can get whatever phone model it may be for free if you sign up for 2 years. So there's always going to be a little bit of give and take between those as people move between those two options. Any other questions about revenue sources? All right. In the budget that we're going to be presenting tonight, I will be requesting a 75-cent increase across the board for all of my operators. The reason why I'm asking for a 75-cent increase, that number was taken as an average of the current wage and 3% of that. So it roughly equates to a 3% increase. However, the 75-cent raise across the board brings up the lower paid individual into a more attractive wage range. If we have the 75-cent increase, that will give us a starting wage of $15.02 per hour for a person off the street. The reason why this is information is important is because right now, McDonald's, Wendy's, Walmart, and Black & Decker will start someone off the street for less than $13 an hour. Right now, as it sits today, my starting wage is $14.27. So I'm asking someone to come to work for me and make life-altering decisions and life-altering actions on a daily basis, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they can go to a fast food location without the added stress of the position and make similar wages. For the public safety answering points within the area, comparable to Saline County, Johnson County, and Benton County. Of those three entities, Pettis County is the only county that is subscribing to a triple discipline approach in how we are processing calls. The other counties rated up there only produce one discipline, and that's emergency medical dispatch. To reach an accreditation or a triple ACE level, we have to produce all three disciplines and use all three protocols to reduce the risk to responder safety and increase public safety. The protocols are established by the International Academy of Emergency Dispatchers to facilitate a faster response and to get help at a point much faster than someone not using those protocols. The best example I can give you, I have been in dispatch and in public safety for more than 15 years. I have never, not once in my career, taken a structure fire with entrapment. Not once. If I were to get that call without protocol, giving me an instruction of how to appropriately help someone, I would be 100% freestyling my way through it and hoping for the best. The caller on the other end, without the protocols, is 100% reliant upon the call taker having the experience and exposure to whatever situation they're calling in with to help them navigate that circumstance. With the protocols, a call taker is given the appropriate instruction for the caller. They can give this caller the safety instructions to successfully navigate an entrapment faster than they would for someone like me who had never taken that phone call and I have no experience to gauge the instruction off of. That reduces the liability for the agency. It reduces the liability for all of the entities involved by following those protocols. But they are harder to follow. It is more work. The only agency near us that also follows a triple discipline approach is Boone County. Boone County is the only county near us that uses all three disciplines, and they have a starting wage of $16.84. Comparatively, regardless of disciplines, Pettis County has 868 square miles. Benton County and Saline County both have less than 700 square miles of area to serve. We exceed Benton and Saline County in population, and the only county even close to us in size and population neighboring us would be Johnson County. Johnson County has a starting wage of $14.25 for someone with no experience, and all they have to learn is one protocol.
One moment. Chief, what's the starting salary for entry-level police officer? $19.42. Chief Irwin, what's the starting salary for entry-level firefighter? Thank you.
Looking at the budgets proposed for 2022, these numbers include the 75-cent raise across the board. I have reduced the full-time allotment from 18 operators to 15, providing 3 part-time personnel. At this point, I have 1 part-time position already full. I have 3 more people asking me to come work for me part-time because they're already employed at another agency or they're already involved with another public safety entity, and they're looking to supplement or they're potentially looking at moving agencies. So the part-time positions are very attractive right now. By reducing the 3 positions to part-time, we're able to hold down wage costs and increase the shift differential. Right now, I offer a 25-cent shift differential, which is not up to industry standards. I can tell you that there is an agency that neighbors us, that we exceed in population and physical size, that they offer their person on night shift a full $1 to work overnight. So the fact that I offer a 25-cent shift differential is not always received well. So if I could increase the shift differential to 75 cents from the current 25 cents, we would have a total salary expense of $647,000 and $647,399. The Social Security, loggers, SURF, and medical insurance, the basic life, Medicare, have all been supplied to me by the payroll specialists with the county, with a benefit total of $268,000 and some change. We are reducing office supplies for the 2022 budget year because we have started the initiative of moving the Joint Communication Center to a paperless agency. This is a necessary move because since we have merged and we have assumed all of the mules responsibilities for the county, we were on trend to spend $2,000 annually for paper consumption, just in paper. So as we are moving to a paperless agency, which is anticipated to be completed by the first of the year, we're going to be able to reduce office supplies over the course of each next year to help determine what else we have to account for in that. One of the biggest changes from 2020-2021 budget is the purchase of new equipment. You'll notice that that is a drastic change. We are down to $6,374. If you look at the new equipment section of your handout, the new equipment is for screen recording services and base stations. Only 2 items we are planning on purchasing or that I would like to purchase for 2022. The screen recording services is going to be similar to an officer's body camera. It is going to be integrated into our phone system, and as the phone rings, the recording system will begin, and we can watch how an operator is navigating the protocols and navigating the systems, and we can help streamline their efforts and create a lean PSAP at the same time. The base stations that I am requesting, whenever we completed the move into the new space, the base stations were actually taken from the Sedalia communications side, so 4 of them were already dated at the time that we moved into the new space, and they will have to be replaced within the next 2 years. I'm fingers crossed I can get 2 years out of them. One of the largest changes that you will see in the budget would be for the telephone and data services. For 2021, that was originally budgeted at $50,000, a flat rate for the entire year. That accounted for the 911 trunk lines. That did not account for all of the items that were overlooked in the original budget, such as the Mules connection. Thankfully, we were able to utilize a shared connection with the city of Sedalia to reduce that cost from what it would traditionally be. And holding that cost down helps, but it is still a significant expense. It's a significant expense because that is the backbone of what we do. The number provided would include all of the CAMA trunks, which are the 911 lines, the administrative lines, our Mules connection, the data feed, as well as miscellaneous vendors. There are several smaller phone providers within the state that we have to have agreements with that we pay for on a monthly basis to ensure that we receive the calls that they route to us. Any questions over the telephone? All right. The contractual services for 2022 includes the lease agreement for the physical space that we occupy with the city of Sedalia, the Wood and Houston payment for radios, the payment for the medical director. We are required by state law that we must staff a medical director, and he must be available and be involved in our process. We are fortunate in that the same doctor has agreed to take on Pettis County Joint Communications as Pettis County Ambulance District and Sedalia Fire, so we're able to provide a unification of care as needed. We also have the priority dispatch, which is the protocols that we use on a daily basis. CallWorks is our phone handling software. Tyler Technologies for CAD, and we have Nixle Services. We are splitting the cost of Nixle Services with the Sheriff's Office. We will be using it strictly for dispatch purposes to the volunteer fire departments within the county. We will not be doing community-wide messaging. Splitting that cost with the Sheriff's Office is another way to hold that cost down as much as we can. I have included a 5% overage in contractual services because there are some very small aspects of the builds that are still in progress. Questions? Once I get talking, I can get on a roll. I'm sorry. All right, so with the proposed expenditures and looking at the revenues for 2022, I am conservatively expecting the prepaid device to perform at $50,000 and the any device to perform at $405,000. We have no grants scheduled for 2022, and as proposed, if accepted, we'll have a rollover into 2023 of $149,851 and some change. Do you have any questions concerning the 2022 budget?
How about retention of your employees?
Retention?
So we put it at 1502, that's $31,000 a year.
It is.
Number one, have you been able to retain your employees? Is there a lot of turnover?
We have experienced a higher amount of turnover the last part of August through the mid-September with the merger with the sheriff's office. I don't know how that correlates, but it all came together at the same time. 911 has always struggled with staff retention. It's the nature of the beast.
It's stress.
There's a lot of things.
Are there certifications you can acquire and then?
Right.
So what's the top end? If I stay with you, I deal with the stress, and I'm there for 10 years, what am I making?
Right now
Or you pick it.
Right. Right now there is not a step schedule in place because it is a new agency, and we're trying to stand up and get everything in place. We are 100% reliant upon annual raises at this point, agency-wide.
What services do you offer your staff to help deal with the stress?
So for the 2022 year, I am going to be subscribing to a service called Pause Academy. It's actually used by the Department of Corrections, and it is a unlimited online portal where someone can go in and they can participate in various health informative seminars, webinars. They can access yoga, meditation, nutritional information, budgetary guidance, because all of those factors can influence the stress that an individual feels on top of whatever they're experiencing at work. So in an attempt to mitigate the outside stressors, we can provide them more resources, or they will have more room in their life to deal with what we're asking them to deal with professionally. We also offer EAP, and we have been able to work with the Sedalia Police Department for CIT. The chief has been very generous, and we've had an incident where we had someone come over and talk to one of my operators. It was well received, welcomed, and leveraging the relationships that we have within the public safety community locally, I think we can help navigate those. Unfortunately, there's nothing available for 911 operators specifically because we're not considered emergency responders.
Is there any mandated counseling for dispatchers after a traumatic or a stressful call?
There has been nothing mandated at this point. I am very communicative with my supervisors and all of my operators. I have asked them to notify me anytime one of the operators experiences a traumatic phone call, whether the operator tends to be or seems to be handling it well. I still want to know what's going on. And then I will take the time to discuss with them how they're doing and see if there's any services that we can provide for that person at that time.
Chief Wirt or Chief Irwin, when you have an officer who gets injured in line of duty or has to fire their weapon, is there a mandated counseling session for your officers as well as firefighters? Yeah. Okay, that was big.
Is there a cost of that?
Chief Irwin.
We kind of do the same thing. If there's ever an incident, we get together with the shift. We invite our department chaplain to come in. We have the EAP program as well, and we just kind of got tied into the CIT program. We talked to some of their counselors, and they've offered their services to us as well. None of it is required, but it is a traumatic event. We kind of
Insist, yeah.
So we do have an avenue to take care of our people.
I think a few weeks back, you spoke at, maybe a month back, you spoke at the Pachyderm.
Mhm.
And you gave a great emphasis on how our dispatchers are not considered legally first responders.
Correct.
Did you make a statement during that about legislation that may be going through or actions
Right.
that have been taken to have dispatchers recognized as first responders?
Local government, whether it be city or county, can declare their dispatchers first responders. They have that ability to do that. There is legislation at the federal level to revise the Department of Labor definitions of a first responder to include dispatch in that. It's been pushed back a couple times. Whether it's going to proceed or not, I don't know.
What do we gain from that designation? That were to happen?
Staff retention.
Is it more, when you say staff retention, you mean more as in morale?
It would be a huge morale increase to that. There is a stigma associated with the fact that I can, when I say I mean any of my operators and anyone in my agency can successfully instruct and help someone navigate a potentially traumatic and life-threatening event, but they're considered a secretary.
And, I'm going to ask about revenue again. So is there a 5-year plan for, you anticipate that for statewide prepaid, you mentioned that anyway, any device fee is right now at $405 current.
Mm-hmm.
So from PCAD and the city of Sedalia and the county are making up the difference in the expenditures. So on a 5-year plan, what do you anticipate as far as revenue?
Well,
from that fee versus what?
I do not have 5-year trends for my revenue streams. However, for the 2023 budget, assuming a 1.5% increase in wages over the 2022 proposed. So I proposed a 75-cent increase across the board for 2022, and going into 2023, if we only go with a 1.5% increase for wages, a 6% increase for medical insurance, and a 5% increase in basic services, telephones, contractual services, with no adjustments in the contributions from any of the entities that we work with right now, at the end of 2023, will be negative $8,000 and some change. So there will be an ask for an additional funds at some point. We need to determine when that will happen.
How much is the budgetary increase for the additional 75 cents and shift differential?
How much is the difference?
Yeah, what's the total? I mean, what is it?
Okay. Looking at the 2022 budget, we have a complete salary expense of $647,000. In reducing the 3 positions from full-time to part-time, that's actually a decrease from 2021, because in 2021 it was $666,000. So I'm asking for a raise, but it's not costing as much, simply by reducing 3 positions to part-time. The reason why it's saving is because the county has a policy, part-time positions can only work 1,000 hours per year. That's it. So it does take some management and foresight into scheduling that 1,000 hours appropriately.
What, same comparison for 2021 for the wage and benefit total. So 2022 is $916,288. What effect does part-time have on, what was it for 2021?
We had no part-time slots for 2021. Everything was considered full-time. And because everything was considered full-time, we had the additional budgetary expense of the benefits, the retirements, and everything in that. Right.
So what was the total for 2021?
Just in wages, it was $666,000. For the total, it was
Do you have it? I'm asking you something you don't have.
I
Okay.
don't have it on me. I'm trying to recall.
I mean, because you were part-time, I anticipated that would be larger. There'd be actually a savings for 2022 also, at that level.
The wage and benefit is actually a decrease over 2021.
Right, that's what
Yes.
I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not costing me as much.
Okay.
Do I understand right, your $660,000 was in 2021,
hmm
and you weren't fully running 2021?
That's what we were originally budgeted for, yes.
Well, what was the actual expenditure since you weren't running full? 2021 was the startup year,
hmm
and that's why your revenue at the beginning was down.
Correct.
Up to 50,000 across the board each of the. So what was the actual expenditure then for the wages during that time? Not the budgeted one.
That's a tricky question. And the reason why that's a tricky question is because from March to August, we were providing services to the city of Sedalia, and just the city of Sedalia. We did not assume the responsibilities for the county at large until August 16th. So it's a very fluid number as the number that we were providing for the city of Sedalia or for the county at large.
So the county was paying the salary side at that time?
Yes, I started paying the salaries for all communications personnel providing services to the city of Sedalia March 6th of 2021. Any other questions?
And prior to that, I mean, that's why the revenue's down, but then the expenses were also down because the city was still incurring the wages. So, yeah.
Right.
So
The city paid for the wages February and March, which was the delay in merger, and that's why the revenues were down for the year of 2021, because we did not collect any revenue from Pettis County Ambulance District or the city of Sedalia for the months of January and February. With the proposed 2023 budget, proposal only. If we can budget an additional $5,000 over 2022 for the any device for $410,000 and $60,000 for the prepaid tax, which is a question mark. And if we ask for a total of $75,000 between the contributing agencies divided between the City of Sedalia, Pettis County Ambulance District, and County of Pettis, instead of a negative $8,000, we'd have a positive $81,000. And that is a proposal only. Questions? The reason why I bring up the 2023 budget now is because of the budget cycles. The county budgets January to December, and the city budgets April to March. If I come back and ask for an increase in this time next year, there's going to be a period of time where those funds are going to be allocated from 2022. Any other questions?
Council, any other questions?
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, it appears that, the county and the city and PCAD are, over the next 5 years, are gonna have to be a piece of this pie. Doesn't look like that.
Is that percentage that these entities are giving, is that based on call rate or how's that based?
Is it adjustable?
yeah, basically the way the contract was was done was is you had the original amounts, the 300 from the city, 200 from the county, and 150 from PCAD, and that was roughly based off of what we knew about the call load at that point. Then the contract actually spells out that anything above that, then basically the board approaches each of the agencies and talks about the gap, and that gap then is shared equally among the three parties. There is also a deal in there that basically the counties, and I'm going off memory here, but the county's portion is actually in two buckets. It's $100,000 for the county, which is essentially the sheriff, and then the other $100,000 is for the other agencies. And there's been talk about the other agencies, particularly the Pettis County Fire District, joining in and actually contributing and being part of the board and those kinds of things. And if there is a contribution by any of the other agencies that are not currently contributing, that would reduce the county's other $100,000 bucket before anything else was distributed. Does that make sense? Yeah. I miss anything?
Prior to this, establishing this joint commission, I kind of vaguely remember a budget exceeding $500,000 supporting the, just operating the 9/11 system.
Yeah, it was right at that. It was basically, we had, and that's really, again, part of how those numbers were derived, because we were getting the 150 in from PCAD, and then our labor was right around the 450 or whatever that we ended up. And so that's really, again, part of how we set those original dollars.
What I'm asking prior to that, when we were operating the system.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We were, our wages and benefits to provide that dispatch was about $450,000. But then we had the contract with PCAD, and PCAD paid their $150 to the city, so that offset $150 of that $450, and that left us about $300. So in essence, we're about even with paying $300 into PCAD, or into joint communication. Does that make sense?
I think so. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, next item, bids, Go ahead.
As part of the strategic planning process for the fire department, we discussed the need to replace the self-contained breathing apparatus equipment. This equipment is critical to the safety of our firefighters and allows them to go into burning structures to save lives and minimize property damage. Reliability of this equipment performing in such extreme conditions is of utmost importance to the safety of the firefighters. Simply put, if it fails, it is going to fail in the middle of a fire, creating a life-threatening event to the individual counting on it to perform. For those reasons, SCBA equipment is rigorously tested before it is certified. Such certification is then set as a definite length of time based on the testing to ensure its reliability through that time. Certification on the devices we are currently using is due to expire next year. The city has applied for grants to help cover the cost of these essential firefighting tools the last 2 years. We were successful in obtaining a grant this year for $110,545. In the budget approved by council, we anticipated total expenditures of $300,000, with $270,000 of grant funding. Despite the grant funding being well short of the budgeted amount, staff recommends that we should proceed with this project. For the purchase of the equipment, we issued a request for proposals and received 8 proposals from 6 companies. Staff recommends award to Failed Fire Equipment for their proposal that includes a 5-year warranty The total project cost under their proposal would be within the budgeted expenditures at $260,013.36. Anything to add, Chief?
Anybody have any questions?
We're up against it, aren't we?
When does this equipment arrive again?
So speaking with Bell, we're 12 to 16 weeks out.
12 to 16 weeks out.
Are these carried on board, or are they
You want to go?
probably, because of the outside?
You want
The outside can hear you better.
What was the question, sir?
Are these carried on board, all the equipment?
So the air packs are carried on all of the fire trucks. Part of the grant request was for an air cascade system, which is actually what fills those systems. The cascade system that's at the Central Fire Station is close to, well, it's been here almost as long as I have, and it died a year and a half ago, and basically they told us we can't get parts, that kind of thing. So part of the grant application was for that. So part of that is for that air cascade system to fill air systems at the Central Fire Station.
And these, what we're purchasing now will cover all the equipment? that we
Yes,
decide?
sir. Yes, sir. This will cover in-service and the reserve engine as well.
Any other council discussion? Do we need a bid,
How many?
to accept this bid?
How many spare bottles?
Each pack comes with a spare bottle. So each pack, so there's 26 air packs, so you're talking 52 air bottles.
Okay, so you can be using one and fill one for each employee.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Motion to award the bid.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, Thomas Olin.
All right, continuing on with our strategic planning presentations, and Director Audrey of Public Works will give her presentation on the street, sanitation, mowing, and alley maintenance.
And I'll start with the big news this year on the first picture, and that is the rail spur is complete, operational. We've had one repair on a wet spot, but everything is looking good. We still have a request in to FRA for the transload facility, and they were supposed to have an answer back by last Friday, and I have not seen a response yet.
So FRA is for the
Federal Rail Administration, yes.
And with this grant, we're going to receive excess of this rail spur to build this transit.
That's correct.
Which is how much?
I believe there's about $1.8 million left to be used for the transload.
Yeah, and it was almost 10.1 million.
In total.
Yeah.
Yes. There was. So, streets, I won't read to you everything here, but our real goal is great streets throughout the community, safe, affordable, and attractive. We've concentrated on safe and affordable, and we hope to get towards the point of looking at attractive facilities, especially after completion of the comprehensive plan that starts talking to us more and more about going back to pedestrian traffic, bicycles, which are a huge part of our community with the Katy Trail. My current challenge of the year is attracting and retaining employees. I'm not having the same luck as some of the other departments. I'm having trouble, and poor Shannon, since she's come. I think I've had her everywhere but in a sandwich board walking down Ohio, although I am thinking we may want to try that. I am still short in the neighborhood of 17 people. It changes from day to day. Anyone that gets a CDL can quickly find another job. So while other people talk to you about how do you recruit new people in and what are the bonuses perhaps that we should give, I am really seriously, and I've talked to Kelvin a couple times, I've got a very solid crew at the mid-range level in crew supervisors, and I want to make sure that I don't lose them, because if I lose them, I don't have people to train the new staff that we hire as trainees. So staff retention is going to be huge with me in the coming year. We do need to work on improving the flow of vehicles, pedestrians, and bicycles on all our streets. We are seeing increased traffic flow,
And in the last few years, we have not really received a lot of funding through the Missouri Department of Transportation, so we're pretty reliant on local funding at this point, although we have been hearing that more federal funds may be coming through the infrastructure bills. We want to keep city streets safe and in good repair. We would like to focus back, and we have been working with the police department and School District 200 this year on going back to the Safe Routes to School program. Let's see. We are spending time on preserving street surfaces so that we don't have to keep rebuilding streets. We've spent 3 to 4 years on doing street reclamation. The county has kind of moved away from that. We are looking at renting and leasing the equipment ourselves and doing some of that direct in coming years. We are continuing the sidewalk rehabilitation program. This year we will spend approximately $500,000 on sidewalk improvements, and that includes in the areas where we had the big water main projects going into place. And of course, we've got snow and ice removal coming up. Part of my concern, and I'm already talking to police and fire about this, is we've been hearing some noise that MoDOT may have problems clearing snow because they are also experiencing staff difficulties. So we want to make sure that we can keep the community open, and we'll need to concentrate on snow emergency routes, keeping them clear, and then taking a look at what the state's able to do on 50 and 65. We are looking at coordinating and targeting public outreach towards dangers of distracted driving. So after I met with police and the school district, I went out, sat and watched intersections during the first couple of weeks of school and discovered that there's lots of people paying much more attention to their cell phones. Strangely enough, some of them iPads as they drive through school zones. So we've got to work. It doesn't matter how much I paint yellow on streets or put signs up, or how much police goes out and runs speed checks. If you're looking down at a device instead of where the children are at, we're still not where we all need to be as far as taking care of kids in school zones or along any roadway for that matter. So we need to get cell phones and iPads out of hands and people back driving. We also have that problem in work zone safety. We've had some near misses with my staff this year on roadways. I'm not sure how you miss a guy standing in a hard hat, a high-vis vest, and yellow gloves. But we've had some people have to actually physically jump out of the work area, and then people complain that they've hit holes in the road. There were people standing next to those holes that they hit in the road at the time they hit them. So we've been very fortunate. I hope not to have to come next year and talk to you about work zone safety and somebody being injured because they're not paying attention where people are working. We want to build good streets, but we're going to have some cooperation from our residents on what goes on in those areas. And we do think it's time to start sharing more information about crash statistics as far as where are those problem areas in town, and perhaps get people to avoid those areas and drive down the block across or the block on the other side of those areas, or just slow down a little bit, share the road. So we want to also work on developing and implementing a neighborhood traffic calming program. Where we are headed with that, we are getting multiple calls about people wanting to put in additional stop signs or dropping the speed limit in town from 25 to 15. The signs themselves do not slow traffic down. Again, there's only so much that paint and signs will do, and then you have to change behaviors. And we can do some of that by the way we develop the road itself. So when we start looking at road design, narrowing some areas, making things look like gateways. I wasn't sure it would work, but we put in some mid-street yield to pedestrian and crosswalks at the schools. And as the people get to those areas and they have to avoid hitting those signs, they're slowing down. So these gateway programs may work. And we believe with the number of calls we're receiving about parents concerned about children playing in the street, that we can get some neighbors to help us come up with some creative ideas on how to slow people down. So we're going to start working on that. And some of that may include, this is where we brought the Tree City USA up. So it may involve where we place trees or how we maintain culverts. We are having culverts failing now. Some of that is because we've got people driving through ditches. You shouldn't really do that unless there's a drive approach. And then we also have our cistern program. Last year we filled 6 cisterns, and the year before we filled nearly 20. So it's been a good time to get private property and lots with cisterns or wells filled so that children don't find them while they're playing. So I've kind of covered this slide except for the staffing. We have 1 operations manager, a program specialist, 3 crew supervisors, 6 equipment operator, 2 positions, 6 equipment operator, 1 positions, 2 maintenance operators. Those are the guys that work in the sign shop and print all the signs we put up in town. We have a maintenance technician, that's their crew supervisor, and 5 seasonal part-time laborers. Right now I have 16 filled positions and 9 vacancies in the street department. So what we've accomplished this year, I hate to even bring this one up, mill and overlay on 3rd, 16th, and Grand, and the parking lot on 3rd and Lamine. I put out a large PSA last week because they told me they would start today at least on getting prepared, and by Wednesday they would be working, and they notified me this morning that they believe the soonest they will be here is Saturday now. They are 2.5 miles outside Sedalia working on US Highway 50, and they have to finish that before they start us. So tomorrow I will issue a PSA indicating that we are delayed. I don't think I'm going to include when that project will start. It's difficult at this point because we're asking people who normally park along 3rd Street to move off that area so that we can pave it, but I can't give them a definite date when that contractor will be here. So even if they may start on Saturday, we may delay them to start until a Monday so we can get the notice out to the neighbors. Not the best way, but I've been talking. Marshall's having the same problem. They've now been notified that their street work probably won't be done until next spring sometime. Everyone is experiencing problems with staff not working because of COVID, and then they're having not enough staff to get everything done that they've committed to.
So it's my understanding when they begin the process, the milling will follow up with their overlay,
That's correct.
and they'll have nighttime lights, and if they're going to...
They will. They've now told me that it's so late they will not be able to work at night, but they will be able to complete all the work that we have for them within 21 days. It's not that we're a big project. It's just we're coming in behind their very large project off 50. But our projects do total nearly $1 million. So to the community here, this is a huge project.
Just send me a check.
Sorry, send you a check? Yeah, really. We have been moving dirt over for the police department shooting range, and we've moved 653 loads of dirt. We were very lucky because we've been able to move material from the community center, so there's been no cost outlay for the material needed for the shooting range other than the labor to move the dirt.
Are those police that bad a shot? Never mind, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out tonight. I'll hear this bang in the next one.
We are,
You hope you hear the bang.
we
Sorry, I
are,
couldn't resist.
we are building the shooting range to NRA shooting standards for the caliber of weapons being
I
used.
just wanted to,
I just want to make sure we're not just,
I wanna go out and see it.
yeah. You'll see a picture of where we're at on the one leg here in a minute. We have done 162 blocks of chip seal this year, and we've done various base failure repairs, including the Henry Street crossing and Pedersen, Ohio, and we still have a few more of those we'd like to get done this year. And we're crack sealing as soon as they complete the rocking of the parking lot across the street here at Second and Osage. So we plan to start that next Monday. We do have a lot of culvert pipe replacement going on. We've had several calls this year. We seem to be at the life end on the galvanized pipe that was placed about 25 years ago, and there was quite a bit placed. So unfortunately, galvanized pipe is up in price this year. Wish it would have failed last year. We have swept 2,550 curb miles of streets so far this year. We filled 6 cisterns. And then we start talking about sidewalk replacement. So all the contract 1 sidewalks in the area, what I would call mid to west central downtown, have been completed. The contract 4 sidewalks, which basically start at 3rd Street and go from Mill to South Engineer, are complete. South Engineer to the Union Pacific right-of-way and north to Saline are complete. 4th, 5th, 7th, and the Lafayette 7th Street area are complete. South Montgomery Avenue between 3rd and Broadway, we still have a few areas that need to be finished. And we have completed the 3rd Street from South Quincy to South Park, and we're working on sidewalks on 9th, 10th, 15th, and 16th right now. And we need to finish the last 3 blocks of 13th Street, which falls, I believe, between Brown and Engineer. Tree trimming has been different this year. Normally we can go out and trim in the spring and then pick it up again in the fall. This year we had lots of overwinter damage with the ice storm and just the winter weather. And then we had some heavy winds this spring and some twisting. We've seen and continue to experience limb failures. We're hearing from the arborists that some of it is because of a heavy leaf and nut year, and that we had plenty of rain in the spring that also allowed those damaged areas, and they will fail, and there is no warning in advance. And we've had a couple of cars that have been impacted because of it this year. So as far as winter comparison on salt used on roadways, and we show this every year, last year was a lower snow volume, so we only used 530 tons of salt last year. So we did actively work with the police department and the school district on improving school signage. You'll see some changes. We put in the high reflective signpost covers, both at Skyline and Whittier. We're testing some of these because they haven't been used in the area and we weren't sure if people would pay attention. They seem to pay attention to those signposts, and they like the mid-street crossing signs. They are slowing down. We also changed the crosswalk patterns that we're using because people told me they could not see where the crosswalks were. So these are called ladder-style crosswalks. The white bars going perpendicular to the street are wider. And we have also added additional crosswalks, and we aren't finished. We will be following the manual on uniform traffic code device, information on adding additional crosswalks leading to the school on main thoroughfares as weather allows us to paint. We are looking next year at doing in-house mill and overlay instead of contracting. Our machines will not allow us to do the wider streets. They're too small, they're not heavy enough. So the county in the past has worked with us, and we've split the rental on rollers, millers, and a larger laydown machine. And I have a new street superintendent and some long-term employees who tell me that they're ready to try this on their own, and I think it's a good idea, and it will save us money. Hopefully we'll be able to work on several different streets, and that will be in my budget presentation you'll consider later in the year. I do have to say that this will also be staffing dependent. I'm going to have staff to be able to do this. But the contractors don't seem to be able to do this either, but my workforce is stable, the ones that I have. So it may be that I just shrink the number of projects in a year. We are going to continue replacing sidewalks. I told Kelvin I'm going to try asking for $500,000 again this year, because we know that the 353 is going to start where they will want to do block by block improvements, and we'll be looking at sidewalks and curb and gutter in those areas. At the same time, we'll have other areas that are working also, so we'll want to be able to kind of blend funding to get as many sidewalks done as we possibly can. And we may have a few more water projects that will be coming up. And just as a reminder, the reason we pair sidewalks with water main replacement is because instead of putting the water mains under the street, we're now putting them under the sidewalk. Water main life is very similar to the life of a normal sidewalk. So if we pair those developments, then the next time it's time to replace, it should all roll together. It's also, if you do have a water main break, a 4-foot section of sidewalk is much more inexpensive to replace than a roadway. Let's see. And I'm hoping that if the federal transportation infrastructure money comes through, they are talking sidewalks will be eligible, and especially ADA compliance, so we could wrap all of it together. Let's see, culvert pipe replacements, again, it's just galvanized failure. Up until now, we've been just talking about what do the maintenance crew that I have in the street department. When we start talking about these next projects, these are real, part of them are MoDOT dependent. We need a cost share with them. It's in their right of way. We have to move them forward on understanding where our bottlenecks are occurring, and that their U.S. highways impact our ability to move our residents through our community safely and seamlessly. 32nd U.S. 65 and Clinton Road continues to be the #1 on my list. Hopefully yours also. I think if we can reduce the traffic flow problems there, several other areas will see less congestion also. And we continue to see development in that area, which is very encouraging, but it's exacerbating a problem that we've already identified. And we have been talking to MoDOT on a regular basis about that problem, and they do understand that we need their help in doing a cost share on that project. They're also familiar with their concern about West Main and U.S. Highway 65 and the need for that to be a complete overpass and include, I always get this backwards, we've got northbound on one side and southbound, but we don't have the opposite side of the overpass, and that overpass actually has to go far enough to exceed the distance over the Union Pacific Rail active line. Does that paint the picture? Does it make sense? That area is going to be difficult and expensive, but it needs to be there. Again, and part of it is that the area that MoDOT always comes back to me on is the area around Grand. And why do we have problems at Grand? And part of it is the narrowing down of the roadway. It needs to be 4-lane all the way to where 765 currently splits off. So that would take care of many of the problems. But that's somewhere between a $40 and $50 million project. So MoDOT has to be involved in that. Then looking to the future, South Winchester Road, from the 16th Street roundabout south, perhaps to Sacagawea, would give a traffic flow fix to Clarendon Avenue and to South US 65. It's just a good alternate path. It's not a bypass. It is a method to get residents to their homes safely. Clarendon is narrow, and we have the fair there, and it's definitely a residential roadway. It was not intended to be an arterial, which is how it is being used. So we're monitoring for grant opportunities. We continue to talk to MoDOT about these, and I'm going to keep coming back every year talking to you so that when you run into someone from MoDOT or a legislator, you start talking to them more and more about these 3 projects and the imperative nature that we are getting to as far as being able to move people in and through town safely. And then we get into projects like the intersection offset correction at Main Street and North State Fair Boulevard. We believe we can pave the roadway. We think what we need is a roundabout to take care of the traffic flow because of the offset at State Fair Boulevard. We also believe we should, at that same time, correct to the north the problem at Pro Energy Drive, Cherry Tree Lane, and North State Fair Boulevard. And that one's a little easier to fix. It's really buying some additional easement and straightening the roadway. And we think we could finish that whole project at one time. The balance of these projects I tried to pare back to the comprehensive plan so they would perhaps make more sense why they're 1 to 5, 3 to 10, and then longer projects. Pedestrian and bicycle safety and accessibility. We definitely, once we have the community center, need to consider the sidewalks along 65 Highway from the area of Huber Hunt School to the north. And then we also started a project under our Safe Routes to School funding that went from the Missouri State Fairgrounds main entrance and meanders through the median up to Highway 50, but it does not go north from there. So we need that other piece from US Highway 50 north to 3rd Street and then down 3rd Street to the entry to Liberty Park. And then we'll have a good both pedestrian and bicycle route between Liberty Park, the community center, and the Missouri State Fairgrounds. Then we also would like to see a pedestrian bikeway from Liberty Park back to the Katy Depot along 3rd Street. And again, it would connect then all the way from the Katy Depot back to the Missouri State Fairgrounds if you chose to ride that route. And we would also like to see a pedestrian bikeway from the Amtrak Depot over to the Katy Depot because many people, and John and I talk about this frequently, they come in with their bikes and are dropped at the Amtrak Depot and they'd like to pick up the Katy Trail at the Katy Depot and they're not quite sure how to get there safely. So we'd like to be able to provide that pedestrian bikeway also. And there will be plenty of space there soon to allow for that. So 3 to 10 year projects, widen Boonville Road from Harding to the Sedalia Airport and install traffic signals at Harding and US 50. I think that one is easy to understand. Derek is doing a great job out at the airport, and it's simply, I believe there will be more traffic and more inbound freight, and we need a way to move it back to US Highway 50. Improve and widen Boonville Road then from Harding back to the Sedalia Rail Industrial Park. Hopefully we will continue to see growth there, and we'll be needing to move freight both from the airport to the park and then from the park back to the airport, or possibly to Highway 50. And then the big one, I think the exciting one that came out of the comprehensive plan is the 16th Street corridor, making 16th Street have a bicycle, pedestrian-friendly path all the way from Centennial Park out to the fairgrounds and pick up the sidewalks that MoDOT put in. And then just general highway improvements. We need to improve the intersection at US Highway 50 and Winchester Road, eastbound US 50 onto northbound Massachusetts, and improve the overpass. That one I would like to see sooner. I don't know how we get it funded, but we'll continue to look for a method to get grant fundings for that one. I think it may be possible. US 65 at the 765 intersection. Again, that is a MoDOT Sedalia project because it's right at the edge of our city limits. And then correcting a problem at US 65 and Sacagawea out by the high school to make sure that kids that use Sacagawea have a signal at that intersection, because it's frequently high school students going through that intersection that is not signalized at this point. And then 7 to 15 year projects to strengthen and grow our economic base is to extend Winchester from that 16th Street roundabout south, and then extend Cherry Tree Lane over to Oak Grove Lane. So there is the first leg of the Sedalia Police Shooting Range in the top picture. It is 20 feet high and I believe 8 feet wide. It will have a second leg behind it and then a leg that runs to the east and west when complete. And we are removing galvanized pipe in the bottom picture. I'm sorry that got long. Can I answer any questions?
What's the average lifespan of the sidewalks and water mains beneath?
A water main and sidewalk, if you use concrete, is intended to use it to last 50 years. Yeah.
I see we're still using concrete for sidewalks. We had a study on that porous material one time for sidewalks. That kind of fell by the wayside, or it's not, it's too expensive, or what?
It's too expensive at this point. Yeah. Concrete is still cheaper. Yeah. It's a good project, but cheap. Anything else on streets? Sanitation's shorter. We're trying to stabilize the sanitation program. That's the first thing I need to say, and we continue to work to bring that enterprise fund into balance. There's a lot of work to be done. I think we made a good start this year, has proven to be better than previous years. We talk about we want a reliable, responsive, and affordable sanitation collection service. I've once again been checking neighboring communities, and our $18 a month rate is about as cheap as it comes in the area. Frequently, communities are a couple dollars higher. So I think our price point is about in the right neighborhood now. Engage Sedalians as partners to help keep our community healthy, safe, and clean. There's only so much we can do without people becoming directly involved in this project as far as keeping everything clean. I've been driving 16th Street. I pick areas to monitor to see how things are progressing, and in the last 6 weeks, at least 4 times a week I have found piles, massive piles of material just piled out at the curb. You come back and there's no bulky item pickup scheduled. I'm not sure where all the material is coming from. I don't like, my staff feel like we keep pulling material in and they keep thinking things are getting better, and there's not going to be as much of this material piled at the curb that we don't know, and they feel like, they're getting a bad reputation, they're not doing their jobs, but we don't get called to pick it up. It's just piled out, and it's whoever sees it first makes the call frequently, and we're going to be working more and more with code enforcement on that. But we are also looking at, if you change the mindset to it's a bulky item pickup on demand and I should just start piling that at the curb, and it may take me a month to get it all out, what if we convince them that the best thing to do is to get a container and to sit it in the driveway and load it as you will, keep a cover on it? I would rather see a container sitting in the yard, but I also want to keep that time limited to how long they rent that cart. So I think it's a matter of finding the right price for the container, which, by the way, right now it's cheaper to rent a container for a month and set it there than it is to have us pick it up as bulky item. So it's getting people to understand what's the best value for their buck on emptying out. Perhaps it's grandma's house and they need to empty the whole thing out. You can understand that. We need to help them understand that they need a container and not just pile it at the curb and let everybody go through it and drop it out into the roadway. Let's see. So sanitation work is ranked as the 5th most dangerous job in the United States. So safety is job 1 with all these folks. We have seen much improvement since we went to the automated trucks. We haven't had, knock on wood, I'll jinx myself here, we have not had a needle stick since we went to the automated trucks. The last 6 months of picking up by hand, we had 3 needle sticks. So this is good news. We've also seen less back and knee injury and ankle twisting since we went to the automated trucks. We are looking, though, at any of our old trucks that we maintain. We're looking at changing over to LED lighting. People tell me they're having some trouble seeing the old garbage trucks, so we'll be upgrading some of that. We also, on future equipment purchases, we have found that the backup cameras on the new automated trucks and their sensors and the automatic braking systems do help as far as crashes and fender benders. So we want to stick with that. And that's pretty much it for sanitation. Again, we're doing once a week pickup. We pick up Tuesday through Friday. They work 10 hours a day. We collect residential trash, recycling. Civilians can still take recycling out to the materials management site. It is source separated. The city has collected, this one is a little mind-boggling. From January 1st until now, we have picked up 14,106,104 pounds of garbage. That doesn't include the 250,000 pounds of recycling we've managed through the materials management site, or the 500,000 pounds that we picked up on the Clean Sweep program. So we may need to look at how we generate trash in the community and get people working on some of those other alternatives to purchase. There are annual calendars that we put out every year. Those will be coming out in the December utility bill. That'll tell you when it's not a Monday holiday, when we will be picking your trash up. It will also have the date and schedule for the Clean Sweep areas on the back. So it will also be posted on the city website. So other collection services, our best overlooked service, we believe, is a container rental for large volumes of bulky items. We do the yard and tree debris twice monthly pickups. I found it interesting that we had 1,071 scheduled pickups. That means we had people sign up to get that twice monthly service. But when we went to pick it up, we only had 252 actual pickups. So they're paying for the service, but they're not using it. And then on bulky items, we saw that of 455 scheduled events, we only picked up material at 398. I'll be frank, I'm thinking that the others likely had material out that other people scooped up to home with them. So, and that's why we then get a subsequent call to come pick up something else. Other project-specific work is residential demolitions. We have taken down 11 residences this year, and we have 6 more on the schedule, so we'll finish off the year with 17 demolitions. We've cleaned up 59 abatement sites. We've done numerous neighborhood collection cleanups. Sanitation workers help clean up the tree branches and brushes after the inclement weather in the spring and the winter. And we do maintain the closed city landfill as far as the cap and mowing it. And then we do man the materials management site 7 days a week, including Saturday and Sunday. And that includes the e-waste and household hazardous waste collection site. And we do have the refrigerant removal program for appliances. And we do that with 13 total sanitation employees. We have 11 of those positions filled, and we have 2 of those in process. Our equipment's in good shape, except for the 2 rear loaders, and they are fairly aged for garbage trucks. I believe they're a 2006 and a 2008 model. So we are looking at the new electric garbage trucks. They have a good history on breakdowns. They don't wear as far as their parts as much as the diesel engine does, and you also don't have the diesel to contend with. So we are looking at those. Also, they have some good grant programs for those trucks. Our oldest grapple truck is a 2009, and it's beginning to see some increased maintenance, so we'll also be talking about those in the future. That's it for sanitation. Any questions?
Ms. Brenda, I was wondering if it would be something that we can, a reminder in the water bills perhaps, that they can rent these containers. Perhaps that could help with the numbers going up of that. I noticed today within the 2nd Ward, there's an individual that is remodeling his home, and the outside of the home is stucco, and he's putting it in the blue and the gray bucket trash cans, and I'm like, really? Why not get a container and put that in?
Might get the job done faster, too. Yeah. Yeah, that's an excellent idea, and it's possible that we can modify the calendar that we're planning to put out with the schedule and add at the bottom the container information so that it's hanging on your refrigerator and you can see it anytime you go there.
They can see it at all times. I know that we had an incident at the last Clean Sweep where it was a business that wanted to know why weren't we picking up, and they were unaware of the fact that they had to be on city water and trash in order for us to pick up from them. So that might be something else that we need to add to it, that you have to be on city in order for us to get it.
We're only doing residential at this point. No commercial traffic. So then we've got mowing and alley maintenance. The top picture is what we ran into quite a bit this year because we did have a very busy growing season. So you can see the stop sign on the opposite side of the street a lot better than you can see the stop sign that you actually need to stop at there. So we've found that, and code enforcement says that if I build into my budget, or they will try and help build into their budget, weed eaters. I told them I carry one in the back of the car. If I see something like this, I just get out and knock it down. And Jill said her and her staff are willing to help us with that also. So hopefully these public safety ones we can catch a little bit sooner. The bottom ones are vegetation abatements that we helped code enforcement, and I think PD is one of those. And then the other photo is a picture of the new stand-up mower that you approved in last year's budget. And we've been thrilled with the output of that mower. It's also proven that, and we cannot figure out why, but it has not required, even though it's new, we understand, the parts. It is not breaking down as much as the zero-turn mowers. We've replaced one belt on that mower the entire year, and it's been used every single day. So in the spring and summer, the mowing and alley maintenance crew takes care of mowing and cutting weeds at the closed Sedalia landfill, the animal shelter, the wastewater equalization basins, the wastewater plants, water treatment plant, Spring Fork Lake, our new Union Pacific property, and the rail spur property, and then all the city right-of-ways and any safety line of sight issues along US 765, 50, and 65. And this year, MoDOT did not mow a lot, so we did that quite a bit. But they're very good to work with us, and if I need a light board, frequently they'll loan me one, and I don't have to rent one. So we can trade a little bit of work, and it works out very well for both of us. So we have been removing and cleaning brush from city ditches and trying to keep all the alleys trimmed up. We are not running all the alleys with garbage trucks every day, so we do not keep all the alleys as cleaned of brush until we start working in the fall after the mowing season is over. So this year we mowed 1,318 city lots. That may be the same lot mowed multiple times. 441 right-of-ways and 143 code enforcement lots on top of the other properties named above. Private property, we conduct abatement mowing for code enforcement. We do waste cleanups and assist with the demolitions. Then in late fall and winter, we concentrate on the alleys, and there are 159 miles of alleys that require grading, rocking, and trimming of trees and bushes. And there are ditches that run along some of those properties. We assist with removal of snow and ice downtown and the manual snow removal in and around all the city facilities. And then all year, when sanitation is short-staffed, the mowing guys are on the back of the garbage trucks helping where the rear loaders are used. I think that's it. Any questions?
Council? Thanks, Brenda.
Yep.
Thanks, Julie. Next item?
The next item I have is change order number 2 for a 3rd and Warren water main replacement project. In connection with our water main replacement project, the contractor in the area of 3rd Street and Warren Avenue has reached completion. As is customary in contracts such as this, estimates are made for the amounts of materials that will be needed, and then adjustments are made through a change order process to bring the final quantities to the actual amounts used. Although included in the contract are provisions of the length of time allowed to complete this project, and if the contractor goes past the time allotted, a set amount is deducted per day as liquidated damages. To cover the added cost we incur for the project taking longer, there are weather allowance days provided for, as it would not be appropriate to penalize the contractor for things outside of their control. The final adjustment resulted in an increase of $14,355.20 and a liquidated damages for being 19 days past due, net of weather days allowed, resulted in a decrease of $3,800. The staff recommends approval of the change order.
Brenda, on that project, did the contractor pay the difference on the soil preparation and seeding? Have a motion to approve?
So moved. Call for the ordinance.
Oh, yeah, call for the ordinance.
Read the ordinance, please, Arlene.
Bill number 2021-159, an ordinance authorizing change order number 2 for final quantity adjustments on the 3rd Street and Warren Avenue water main replacement project.
Second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2021-159, an ordinance authorizing change order number 2 for final quantity adjustments on the 3rd Street and Warren Avenue water main replacement project.
Final passage.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lehman,
Yes.
Oldham,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Bogus,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster is absent, and Bliss.
Yes.
That's 7 yes and 1 absent.
The third item I have tonight is regarding storm drainage improvements. The City commissioned a study in 2013 to analyze and identify stormwater management improvements needed. The resulting master plan was organized in priority order, and since then, we have been completing projects in such priority order as funding permits in each budget year. In this year's budget, the project in the areas of East 9th Street, Hancock Avenue, East 12th Street, and South Montgomery Avenue was approved in the estimated amount of $665,125. Staff now recommends that construction will likely not be able to occur this fiscal year, and to utilize some of these funds to get the engineering done on the project, as well as the next project on the master plan. The city has an ongoing on-call contract with Wilson Company Incorporated to provide engineering services such as this. So staff recommends approval of the proposal to design the next two projects for a total of $120,000. This will allow us to finish this project as well as the next project fiscal year if funding is appropriated.
Any discussion, council? Marlene, read the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2021-160, an ordinance authorizing a scope of services for engineering services related to the design of stormwater drainage improvements.
Second reading.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2021-160, an ordinance authorizing a scope of services for engineering services related to the design of stormwater drainage improvements.
Final passage.
Second. Roll call, please.
Oldham,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Bogus,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster is absent, Bliss,
Yes.
and Lehman.
Yes.
So that's 7 yes and 1 absent.
Steve Bliss, Finance Administration.
Two items, John. The first one is a call for the general election, April 5th, 2022. Let me get to that page. But basically, we have to do this in accordance with state statutes for third-class cities such as Sedalia. Council members serve 2-year terms, and they're staggered so that each year one council member's seat for each ward is up for election. Further, the mayor is elected at large to serve 4-year terms, and the current term ends this coming April. To comply with statute, city council must by ordinance call for an election for purposes of electing these positions.
Any discussion, council? Call for the ordinance. Second. Read the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2021-161, an ordinance calling a general election to be held on April 5th, 2022 for the purpose of electing a mayor and 1 councilman from each of the 4 wards in the city of Sedalia, Missouri.
Second reading.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Bill number 2021-161, an ordinance calling a general election to be held on April 5th, 2022 for the purpose of electing a mayor and 1 councilman from each of the 4 wards in the city of Sedalia, Missouri.
Final passage.
Second. Roll call, please.
Dawson,
Yes.
Bogus,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster is absent, Bliss,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
That's 7 yes and 1 absent.
Liquor license, Arlene?
Nope, I got a second item, John.
Oh, excuse me, we do have a presentation.
We do. Health, life, dental, and vision insurance. My notes say Sharon Ramey Toll, but I suspect, it is Sharon, okay, she's up.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, I didn't see it.
Thank you. I always hide in the back.
It fools me every time.
Well, good evening. As mentioned, do we have the presentation pulled up? Oh,
Yeah.
do I need, sorry, clicker.
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
There we go.
All right. So again, good evening. So we went ahead and went out to bid this year. Every 3 years per ordinance, we go out to bid for the city's insurances. This, of course, is to ensure that we're being fiscally and financially responsible, not only for the city's finances, but also for the employees as well. And so actually we went out to bid on all of our insurance, as you can see. So that includes both, again, city-paid insurance as well as employee-paid insurances. Just so that you're aware, the city's medical loss ratio is currently at 112%. Ideally, we want it under 80. So that'll help to kind of give you some insight as we go through and what the costs came in as. So.
Ken, how is that percentage calculated?
Bob? This is Bob Marsh, I'm sorry, with Assured Partners, our insurance broker, and he's here to also help me answer any questions. So.
It's the claims over the premiums.
Mm-hmm.
So they paid out, for every dollar that we paid them in premiums, they paid $112 or $1.12 in claims, plus their operating costs. So, right, Bob?
So we went ahead and reached out to several different carriers, and these carriers actually declined due to our experience, 112%. And also we went out for Guardian, which is a vision carrier, who also declined. The following carriers sent in quotes, so we did get several quotes received in for multiple different benefits. Blue Cross and Blue Shield is our current medical carrier. And as mentioned, Blue Cross and Blue Shield is our current medical carrier. Delta Dental for dental, Blue Cross, or what they call as their Blue View for vision. Life and supplemental insurances is through the Standard, and our ancillary products currently are through Aflac. So with medical, Blue Cross and Blue Shield came back to us with actually a 30% increase to our rates this year. Surprisingly and sadly enough, other quotes were actually even higher than that. So we went and worked with Bob's group and asked them to go back to Blue Cross and Blue Shield with a couple different potential plan changes to look at to see if we were able to get our costs reduced. Some of those included increasing the in and out of network deductibles, increasing our out-of-pocket maximums, potentially looking at removing plans. Currently with our medical, we offer 4 plans, prescription cost changes, as well as moving dental and some of our supplemental or ancillary insurances over to Blue Cross or some of their partners to help reduce our rates, increasing office copays, moving to what they call the cost plus plan, and then also looking at increasing our pooling limit. So we looked at a lot of different ways to try to reduce the 30% down to what we were able to get it to through Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Our first medical plan that we're looking at, so currently this is our HSA or health savings account plan that has a deductible of $1,500. We looked at increasing to actually a $3,000 in network deductible, and our out-of-pocket expenses going from $3,000 up to $6,500, with no real additional change to the plan structure, the plan design. As you can see under the change column is what the cost difference is going to be for those plans, and the city paid is going to go up to $552.94, and the employee cost is also on the farthest to the right-hand side as to what the cost is going to be. Initially, the renewal for this plan alone was going to be increased by 29%, and then with the proposed, it's an actual increase of 13.3%. With our second plan, which is the PPO plan, which is more of a standard plan that a lot of people are aware of with office costs and copays. This is also a $1,500 deductible current plan, looking at proposing a $3,000 plan as well. As you can see, also the difference with the co-insurance going from a 70/50 plan up to an 80% plan, and then also the in-network out-of-pocket costs going from $5,000 up to $6,500. Urgent care copays stay the same. ER copay would go from $150 up to $250, and then prescription costs, as you can see for generic, it would go from actually $15 down to $5, so that would be a savings for employees there. With the renewal, they would look to be a 37.8% increase to this plan. However, with the proposed changes, we're looking at a 13.6% increase to this plan. Our third medical plan currently is also a PPO. It's a $3,000 plan. looking to make the change or propose to a 4,500 plan. The out-of-pocket max from a 6,500 to a 7,500, and then urgent care copay stays the same, so is ER, and then there's no changes to the drug or the prescriptions. Again, the renewal came in at a 15.3% increase to this plan, and with the proposed changes we're looking at, it's going to be a 9.7% increase to the plan. This plan actually, we currently have no employees enrolled in it, so one of the changes that we were looking to make was actually to go ahead and drop this plan, and obviously not offer it any longer. So again, just a little bit of a summary for our medical plan. So with both of our HSA plans, we actually have about 74% or 75% of our employees are enrolled in one of our HSA plans. So again, we're looking to potentially propose to increase our deductible and out-of-pocket, make the deductible and out-of-pocket what they consider as embedded. So currently with the deductible, as you have basically a family, or each individual person in the family has what they have to meet, criteria that they have to meet. This would actually make it, instead of per employee, it would be per family, out-of-pocket max. Correct. I'm sorry, my brain's a little fuzzy this evening. So with that, that would actually make it embedded, which is really actually a positive to the employee, because it would be actually, like I said, instead of an individual that they would have to meet, it would be a total family that they would have to meet. And then, of course, like I said, the proposed increase would be a 13.3% increase. The PPO for most employees, like I said, we're actually sitting at 18.7% of employees are enrolled in one of our PPO plans currently. We're looking to increase the deductible and out-of-pocket, decrease the co-insurance, decrease co-pays for primary and urgent and care visits, as well as decrease the generic drug copay. The renewal with no changes, again, would have been 37.8% of an increase. With the proposed changes, we're looking at 13.6% increase. And then, of course, the PPO higher deductible, we've got the 6.7 of employees are enrolled in this plan. We're looking to increase deductible in the out-of-pocket, increase co-pays and primary care visits. Renewal with no changes would have been a 15.3% increase. With the proposed, we're looking at 9.7. And then, of course, as discussed, the HSA higher deductible, we have no employees enrolled, so we're proposing to actually remove that plan completely. So the total cost of all the plans, a renewal, if we would have proposed no changes this evening, we would have looked at a total of an increase to the city of $364,000. With the proposed changes, we're looking at a 13.1% or $160,000 or $161,000 to the city. With our voluntary benefits, these are the ones that the employees actually pay for out of pocket. The vision insurance, there are no rate changes, and we're going to go ahead and actually stay with Blue Cross and Blue Shield. The voluntary life, there are no rate changes. However, in an effort to, again, reduce our overall premium with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, we'll be moving from the standard to one of their partners' principal. Dental, there's a rate increase, there's a decrease actually with both plans. If we would have stayed with Delta Dental, it would have actually been an increase. But with moving from Delta Dental to principal, as you can see, there's going to be a monthly decrease for our employees across the board, regardless of what tier they're enrolled in. With the proposed changes to the city's plan, again, with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, we're able to bring our final renewal down to 13.1% of an increase for a total net around $161,000. As we're all aware, you know, and also, of course, speaking with Brenda this evening, you know, employees, we're struggling to, you know, maintain, retain employees. And so one of the ways we're actually able to do that is with our benefits. We have really, really great benefits, and so it's one of the best ways we can compete out in the market. But of course, however, as we know, the more we pay in benefits, the less we're able to pay in wages. So again, why we were able to, you know, work with our insurance broker and try to get our rates down as much as possible. And with that, definitely want to open up for council's direction, any questions that we have, that you guys may have.
Council, any questions?
Historically, what are the what I could call an EMR, but the 112% that we're looking at this year, what's it been in the last 4 or 5 years, do you know?
Right off,
Have we gone down, or is this an increase that we?
to my understanding, it's an increase. Mhm.
So did we have, I can't think of a catastrophic event or two with the police, but I'm sure that's probably what it was.
No, you don't have $400,000 or $500,000 claim. Your largest claim is about $150,000. You just got everybody used to a large extent. When we provide the large claim reports, that's anything over 20. It's about 15 pages. There's a lot of usage going on. You know,
I mean, where I'm going to is, can we do anything to get this 112 back down to 80, or trending back down to, I think you said it was 80 was the desired level.
It's my understanding, and speaking with also Brendan, we actually do monthly meetings to go over where we're at.
Slow down.
Oh, sorry. We have monthly meetings to go over where we're at with the city. And it's my understanding that last year, of course, with COVID, because our medical loss ratios based off of a 12-month look-back period. And so, of course, in the beginning of the year with COVID, a lot of employees weren't going to the doctor because, you know, as we all were, nobody was going out. And then really towards the end of the year, it picked up, and a lot of employees were going back to the doctor. So really in October, November, and December of last year, our usage rate was quite high. It went up significantly compared to the other months.
I see you shaking your head. It's COVID related to some degree.
Yeah, and some of that was delayed, and then, you know, the way the calendar worked and the way that the renewal starts, we're dropping off good months and adding bad months. And then the other thing, somewhat in answer to your question about what can we do, part of this and part of what we've been really trying to do is drive more and more people to the HSA, because if you look at the loss runs were worse on the PPO than they were on the HSA.
We had 75% in the.
Pardon me?
Didn't I see 75% in the HSA?
Yeah, 75% of our employees are in the HSA, which is great. I mean, that's higher than most agencies are able to get. But again, we just need to continue to drive the employees to there, get them more involved in being the consumer as opposed to not caring what the cost is, you know. But then some of the other things, you know, and I think, you know,
we don't fund or match any SHA contribution.
Yeah, we do. We contribute $100, and that's a lot of why we drive people to the HSA is we're you know, although it's a $3,000 deductible now, the city is putting in $100. Oops, get to the right one. So the city's funding $1,200 of that $3,000 deductible, whereas then when you go to the PPO,
and that carries over if they don't use it.
It's contributed to their account. It takes with them if they leave. It's their balance is their balance. So part of on the PPO that I think is very important, you know, that we were able to you know, work around and make these changes. You know, you got different kinds of employees or employees that are in different situations with their family. Part of what we were able to do, although, you know, the deductible essentially doubled, went up from $1,500 to $3,000, we were actually able to decrease the co-insurance and take the co-pay for the office visit. So if you think of somebody, you know, a employee with a young family with kids that, you know, gets the colds and the sore throats and the, you know, the strep throat and all of that, the office visit, it costs them nothing. They could take their kid to the doctor. There's no copay for a, you know, family physician. And then a, you know, a prescription, if they get the generic, it's only $5, you know. So again, we're still trying to drive people to do the normal normal and preventative and those kinds of things, and the cheaper driving them to the generic and those kinds of things, drugs. So,
Well, that was 18% of our people, so I think, if I remember, something like that, 18.6. I would bet we've got everybody about where they want to be based on their family situation.
well, and on some people can't do an HSA. Anybody over 65 cannot participate. Yeah, if they're on Medicare, they.
That's not fair.
Yeah, well,
No. I'm just kidding.
Tell your
I'm on
congressman.
Medicare.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. So they can't, and that's about all.
There's also new things along the lines of diabetes. Diabetes is huge. I mean, I can trace back to several plans in that area increased almost, well almost 100% during COVID. There's a lot of areas that we're working on. In fact, when you've got somebody who's got cancer, one of the main things is really not much to do with it.
And one of the things we're actually doing this week and next with, because our open enrollment actually starts, here hopefully very soon. But one of the things we wanted to pair with it, with the hospital, is actually biometric screenings. So that'll test, for cholesterol, sugar levels, and it's here in the council chamber. So employees can come in, they've, gone ahead and actually, made and scheduled appointments. So it's convenient, they can pop in, they can see what their levels are, and then see if there's any potential issues that they may need to go ahead and have addressed. So we're trying to make that convenient as well, and it's no cost to the employee.
There's a neighboring city that's currently implementing a mental health awareness and advocacy and encouraging their employees to either seek counsel or do physical activities or things of that nature. And when they do that, they record their events with their HR director, and they're able to accumulate points, and these points can be applied towards their premiums to decrease premiums and things of that nature. Does this plan, do our plans, do anything such like that we can encourage our employees to start?
One thing that we can do actually through Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and I've actually utilized this in past and as well as actually current, it's just basically we need to educate employees, and we're planning on doing that with open enrollment. This year we've made a few changes to open enrollment, and actually employees have to come in, sit down. We're doing it all online, so there's no paper, it's all electronic. But with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, you're actually able to go on and do something similar to that. So you can actually log in, what your weight is. You can, get points for preventative screenings that you have, your flu shots. You can actually put your tracker and, have your tracker onto the platform as well. And then you're actually able to gain points. And then each month you can, based on your points, you can actually go on there, and it's Blue Cross and Blue Shield funds, that this does not come out of city dollars. And you can go ahead and say, I'm going to put this many points towards winning an Amazon gift card, or there's probably about 10 different gift cards they're able to go into a, basically a lottery. And you go ahead and do that, and you have the potential to win. I've honestly won twice. So it's easy to do, but it is definitely just educating employees and encouraging them. It's $25, but it's $25.
Are they routinely educated about this program?
Not yet. We're going to start this year for next. Okay. So it's called A Healthier You through Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And then also, kind of going back to the EAP, we do have an EAP through the city as well that we do encourage. We've done some really good education this year with employee training and let them know about the opportunities with EAP, which also includes mental health and, of course, counseling. The city, with our plan, offers up to 6 counseling sessions a year. And it's not only for the employee, but it's also for the employee's dependents. So that's also a great benefit that the city has that we've really been pushing communication on this year. And it talks about budgeting. You can actually go on and do free webinars on different health, topics each month. So there's a lot of capabilities for that as well. And we've, like I said, been really pushing on that this year for all employees.
When you were going through the bid process, getting all those numbers, you know, did you hear from Blue Cross or anything, why they went up 30% in the first place?
I mean, when I 30%, it's been 112.
Right. What was it?
And really, to get to, pretty much static loss ratio, I mean, to static renewal, you've almost got to be at 75%. So you can see you're running, you know, 40% above that. So there's where your rating.
How much had it gone up previous years prior to, like?
I would have to go back and look. Last year was considerably less than the year before that. We did a bid year, Blue Cross came to get 18 months. They were actually 13% below in that healthcare that year. And it helped with the no rate increase. You got to pay some big years, seriously. You know, when Kelvin's talking about this rolling 12, we got a bid month go off, we had a month, but we just got to report in today. The actual loss ratio is more like 117 right now. And the reason is you had a 68% month go off 12 months ago. We replaced it with that 86. So the rolling 12 is higher. And 86 is really good compared to the last 3 months. We had anything under 112, 115. The last few months, we had 1 month. 106%. So there's your reason for your rating. And we can only adjust the plan so much. I mean, there's just not 30 points in there to adjust the plan, keep it down to 0. And you raise your deductibles from $1,500. Made some other changes and done it without completely gutting it.
What, Bob, is there any kind of Dun and Bradstreet numbers or things like that where comparing us to other cities across the state or across the country? I mean, is this just us, or is this a trend that's, do you know if it's trending nationally or?
Well, yeah, everything's up quite a bit this year. And I mean, you know, we're seeing rate increases. We've got some other thirds out.
Well, rate increases, but experience, the 112, I always want to say EMR, but
we can pull reports.
Could you pull anything that would compare us to comparable Missouri cities and say, hey, they're all up 100, they're all seeing a large increase, maybe not up to 112, but have you got any feel for that?
We can probably pull some reports. Yeah, good, great, together. But ultimately,
we're where we are.
yeah, each group has its own loss ratio, you know. So when I look at your large loss rate loss report, you've got a huge amount of usage on it, between $20,000 and $150,000. We probably got 30 cents. Well, it says 58. People are open.
What's the pooling amount?
Pooling amount's $100,000, so, and we have a claim that's over $100,000. When we go through the renewal process, we're only charging $100,000 in the rate. So it's a terrible thing to say, but you have actually 4 or 5 claims that are over $100,000, they're not way over. The group is better served, you have one that's 500, but they're writing off 400. You don't have that. The human way, you don't want to go and see those. That's terrible situation.
Right.
But, you know, when you start putting numbers to it, you're better served with it. Because I've got another public entity in the area. I can remember one year we had 104% loss ratio. But we had 5% rate increase because they had 4 huge claims. And so we weren't charging for all that.
Is the high ratio because, is that in corporate workers' comp claims, is that what?
No,
Okay.
yeah, it's separate.
Oh.
And they're all small, so it's more like maintenance use, like small doctor's visits.
Anything, basically. Anytime we're charged.
catastrophic.
Mhm.
Anything that's paid by Blue Cross,
Mhm.
on behalf of the employees, is part of that loss.
Yeah, I would,
And the loss ratio is after all deductibles. After what Blue Cross pays.
so a lot of the chronic illnesses are what really kill.
They're chronic, but they're not huge.
Yeah.
The largest one on there appears to be, it's respiratory, it may well be a COVID claim. And we don't know who it is. There's no identifiers on there.
Are the claims able to be broken down, I don't know if it violates HIPAA at all, for department to see, well, I guess that doesn't matter.
I don't think so, but we don't have, department identifiers in the area.
Yeah. Yeah, they can see it by diagnosis, but not anything by employee.
Right.
The one additional thing that we are able to have with these plans is that we do have a $10,000 wellness credit as well that we're able to utilize for our employees, whether it's a year, whether it's we go ahead and use it for flu shots or any kind of health training, biometric screenings. We're able to buy gym equipment for our police officers and firefighters. So we do have that $10,000 wellness credit that we are able to utilize each year as well. So that is a benefit built into our plans. And I apologize for the confusion on the embedded definition this evening.
Shannon, thank you.
So, you all comfortable with us moving forward with it as we've designed, or with the changes? Again, it's not good news, but I think personally, I think it's the best we can do at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a copy of this, presentation emailed to us?
Sure. Everybody good with it?
Nobody's good.
Well, but best we can be.
So we'll move forward.
I guess at some point in time, yeah, let's move forward and
Would you still like to see other cities' comparisons?
still like to
if
have some
possible?
additional discussions about things we could do to help with the health of our employees, and maybe see that. And I guess what I'm thinking is the community center's coming online pretty soon, and
Mhm.
there may be a way to incorporate that. Maybe Bob would put that in his bond, or you guys should be talking
And that'll
about
be
that.
good long-range planning.
Mhm.
We're faced with the dilemma currently.
And I know we've had conversations with Amy in regards to looking at, and I believe we do now, but also with the Heckard Center.
Slow down and get
Sorry.
closer to the microphone.
Also with the Heckard Center, we've had the conversations with Amy. I believe we do something currently now, but also offering packages for employees and family at discounted rates for the community center to help encourage employees to
Okay.
utilize
Good.
that. And,
I'm glad you've had that conversation. I think that's something that should happen.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Any other questions? So, we're going to move forward. Okay, next
Thank you.
item.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Liquor licenses, please.
We have 2 renewals this evening. Jenna House doing business as State Fair Eagle Stop, 1515 Thompson Boulevard, packaged liquor and Sunday sales license. And Justin Reith doing business as Woods Express, number 570, at 703 East Broadway Boulevard for a packaged liquor and Sunday sales.
Motion to approve in block.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any council member? No one? Anybody want to make a comment?
I talked to you Sunday about Broadway from Massachusetts to Ingram.
Yes,
I
sir.
saw today they was really working on the south side of the road, really fixing that up. It was in terrible shape.
Yeah, and I think it's just a temporary
Yeah,
fix.
yeah,
But it was definitely a dangerous
it was.
situation. Thank you, Bob. And I actually, I don't know if this would happen, but I emailed Congressman Powell today or yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you got it pretty.
good.
Congratulations to now Chief Irwin in his promotion.
Yeah.
Does anybody out in the, chamber want to make any comments to us tonight? So we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to go to closed door session in regards to revised statute of 610-021, regards to real estate and legal matters.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lehman,
Okay.
Oldham,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Bogus,
Yes.
Richardson, Cross,
Yeah.
Foster's absent, and Bliss.
Yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
And we just need a motion of it.
Motion to adjourn?
Yep. Second.
We don't need to do a roll call on that.
All in favor?
All in favor? Right?
Aye.
Thank you all.